Now that we know what a truth table is, the question is, what the heck are you supposed to do with it? Well, let's take a look at where we are here. We've got this program that looks at 4 different locations: space, air, land, and sea, and then speed that you're traveling, and then tells you what gear you're supposed to use based on your location and speed. So right now, we've already taken care of space and air. We've done that using what's called the nested if. A nested if is just an if inside of another if. Okay, that's what makes it nested. And nested if basically just says, look, if you're in space, then I'm going to look at your speed and determine what gear you need based on being in space. If you're not in space, skip that whole if section, never locate the speed, move on down to air and check that one. Okay, the nested if. So what I've done is I've taken a look at land, because that was our next one, that's our next area we want to look at. And we've just copied and pasted the code for air, made a couple changes, and made it applicable to land. So look at us now. Here we are, we're in land, we need the Corvette, Prius, bicycle, and shoes. This is fine. Okay, this will work and this will do everything you need your program to do. But we want to look at another way of going through making a decision structure, and that's using what's called a logical operator. Now, what a logical operator is it's where it takes multiple conditions. In this case, we're only going to be looking at 2, but it can be 2 or more conditions. So what conditions are we looking at? Well, let's look at our nested if. We've got our first condition right here. Okay, we want to see if where is land. Okay, that's going to result in a true or false. That's your first condition. Your second condition, which we've placed it in a nested if, is the speed that you're traveling. So let's go ahead and let's put these 2 conditions together. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to put parentheses around my where. Okay, so now it's an individual condition. Okay, this is one condition. You'll also notice, by the by, right here, the outer parentheses of the if statement, those still are, that's what the if statement is looking for. Is what's inside of those parentheses true or false? So right now, this hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. We're either in land or we're not in land. That's going to result in either true or false. What we're going to do this time, though, is we're going to take the second condition, our speed, and we're going to put this inside of the if parentheses as well. So now we have 2 conditions. Well, let's go ahead and compile, see what happens here. And Java doesn't like this. Well, it says, what's the problem? The problem is, yes, we have 2 individual conditions. There's our first condition, here's our second condition. But we have to link those 2. Okay, we've got to tie them together, make them as one individual condition, and that's where we're going to use what's called the logical operators. We have 2 logical operators that we can use. The first is the and, the second is the or, and that goes to our truth table, which we'll take a look at in just one second. How to use an and or an or? You just go between the 2 different conditions, and if you want to use and, it's just a double ampersand. So that's going to be and. Using double ampersand just says we're going to take this condition and it with this condition. Or, a little trickier, just pay attention, not too tricky, but the key is. The key is a shift backslash, and the backslash is just above your return or enter key. That's actually the straight line, okay? So, shift backslash, again, just above your enter or return key, and it's the straight line. This is actually the or operator. Okay, so we've got the and operator and the or operator, and this is what's going to join these 2 individual conditions and make them one. So, let's go ahead and we're going to compile this, make sure that we're not getting any errors here. And everything works out just fine. So now what we've done is we've ORed these 2 conditions together. So what does that actually say? Well, that says if string where is land or int speed is greater than 71, then we're going to execute some code. We'll put that code in a second. Let's look at our truth table and see what an or is. And this is, again, not too complicated, but you do have to understand how truth tables work. So right now what we're doing is we're ORing. So we're going to look in our OR line, and as long as one condition is true, then the entire statement becomes true, which means the if statement is true. And is the opposite. If one statement is false, the whole thing is false. The only way to get a true with an and is to have them both be true. So let's go ahead and we're going to put this into actual code, and we'll take away this int speed 71. I'm just going to remove this altogether right here. And we'll take, actually we can leave this because this is going to pair up with my else if. So here's our condition. Okay, this is our logical operator. We've taken out the nested if, part of the nested if, and we've replaced it with this operator right here. Condition 1 ORed with condition 2. And if this is true, remember the entire if statement, if this becomes true, then string gear is going to be Corvette. I'm actually going to copy this, and we are going to replace this with that. Okay. And there we go. Make sure I did that right, and we'll compile. Oh, one too many brackets. Get rid of that one. Okay, so let's look at what I've done. We've got our if statement, that's where we started from, that space. Then we've got an else if, air, and these both rely on the nested if. Then we come down to the next decision structure. So this is all based on land. So what this says is I've got several else ifs here. So I've got else if, 4 of them actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, and both of them have 2 conditions. There's your first condition, here's your second condition. So the first condition says string land, that doesn't change, but the second condition, these change. So we've got int speed greater than 71, int speed greater than or equal to 36, int speed greater than or equal to 16, and int speed greater than 0. And then the string gear is going to change by whatever the input is. So let's go ahead and we want to try something here. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to get my bicycle. Okay, so I'm going to type string land, compile it and run it. And we're going to enter our location. Well, our location this time for me, we're going to be in land, L-A-N-D, and I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to enter a speed, and my speed in this case, let's just go ahead and for a bicycle, I've got to be, let's see, greater than or equal to 16, so I'll do 33. That's under 36. We're going to click OK. And you are traveling inland at 33 miles per hour and need the Corvette. Well, now that's strange because I should need the bicycle. That's where I was going after. I entered 33. So why did I get the Corvette? Well, let's take a look and see how this works. So the first 2 if statements were just ignored because my where wasn't not space and my where was not air. These 2 were completely skipped. Then I got to this first else if. And remember, we're ORing these 2 together. So string where equals land, and that was true because I did type in land. And then I said or. Okay, so this is true, or int speed, which was 33, is greater than 71. Well, this was false. So I've got a true and a false. The thing is, though, I ORed them together. Okay, so I put both of those together and I ORed them together. If we go to our truth table, just take a look at that. False or true is true. And that's where we're at right now. That's why my string is Corvette. So, in case you haven't seen it, we don't want to use the OR logical operator. We want to use the AND logical operator. So we're going to replace all these. Our ORs are going to be replaced with our ANDs. And then we'll just enter in the same input. So now we're in the land, and we're going to click OK. And we're going to enter in a speed, 33. And this time, you are traveling inland at 33 miles per hour and need the bicycle because this time, the 33 was, this was a true. Okay, so these are still true. But int speed, 33 was not greater than 71. This was false. And true together, true and false is false. So the entire equation became false. So we went down to our next one. And we had the same thing, true and false is false, true and true. So execute this line, and there you go. That is how logical operators work. And if you see, again, they do exactly the same thing as the nested if does. Okay, same results. The difference is how it's done. To me, the nested if just looks a little clunky. This looks a lot cleaner and easier. Again, it's going to be your choice. You're the programmer, but that is a nested if. No, I'm sorry. That is a logical operator.